This is quick news. All praise Yahweh Shemir Shabbat Shemir Kakadash. This relates to U.S. and Japan tariffs. President Trump on Tuesday announced a trade deal with Japan and will set up tariffs on imported Japanese cars at 15%. This is notably lower than the 25% tariffs that had threatened related to being implemented August 1st, by August 1st. If the deal wasn't reached, August 1st, they would have initially gave 25%, but they lowered it to 10% down. Trump also said that the deal means Japan will open its ports to import of cars and trucks from the United States and invest $550 billion in the U.S. Now, put on Tuesday, Trump announces that the U.S., United States, and Japan reach agreement on trade deal that aims to reduce the burden of Japanese automakers while allowing U.S. cars to flow into the country. And you have other interests as well. Imports of American cars, trucks, rice, other agricultural products. The deal also includes provisions for Japanese to invest $500 billion into the U.S. So investment for Japan into the U.S. part of that. Trucks, cars, rice, agricultural products. In exchange, stated the Japan exports to the U.S. that would be slapped with 15% tariffs. So that's part of the lower tariffs. Instead of 25% tax originally, that would be threatened. So they lowered it to 15. Trump aimed to implement 25% tariffs on cars, but has now reduced it to 12.5%. That's like 12.5% of relating to the original. That brings the total cars imported from Japan to 15% and existing 2.5% tariffs on Japanese auto imports remain in place. And I believe Philippines, 19% related to the Philippines as well. Seen that. Nissan up to 8%, Honda up to 11%, Toyota shares 14%. Now the big three are concerned related to this will put them at a disadvantage. That was on the report as well. General Motors, Stellantis, which is Chrysler, and General Motors, GM, Ford, Chrysler expressed concerns relating to that. That's what that goes to. What that report is, PBS. We will get some more news. So that relates to a deal with the tariffs relating to that. So that's reciprocal tariffs, 15%. Japanese goods. You have 19% on the Philippine imports, in the social media post yesterday. Council of Foreign Relations. U.S. Reuters report U.S.-Japan trade deal averts a worse or global economy. The lowest tariffs on auto to 15% from the levies of 27.5 previously. You have let's get some more news, see what happens. Continue with news. Breaking news, House Oversight Subcommittee approves motion to subpoena DOJ relating to Epstein files. Doctor who supplied ketamine to Matthew Perry pleads guilty. DOJ seeks interview of Jeffrey Epstein's ex-girlfriend. Ghislaine Maxwell. Trump reveals all AI action plan shaped by tech supporters by revoking Biden policies. I seen a report, USDA relating to cutting protection funding for black farmers. And you had a report, what was the other one? Oh yeah, I was on a report, I seen that posted. Jacob L. Hellberg on Trump AI action plan. Trump tariffs just boosted related to Toyota. And you have the situation with the Russian probe with related to Obama administration related to files. DOJ fires newly appointed U.S. attorney in Jersey after judges voted against keeping her Alina Abba enrolled. So she was ex-Trump's lawyer. Emmanuel Macron, wife Brigitte Sue right-wing influencer Candace Owens. Epstein grand jury transcripts released denied by a federal judge. This relates to the Gaza Strip, relating to people dying of starvation, famine, hunger, you know what I mean? Relating to Kilmore Abrego Garcia's lawyers asked judge to delay release from jail over deportation fears. Chinese and Taiwan begin war. Philippines open support for Taiwan. That's a Wyon report. Hearing of wars, rumors of wars. See ye be not troubled, for the end is not by and by yet. For nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, there shall be pestilence and earthquakes in different places, for we in the times of sorrows. So you see in the nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, man. Threats of war, rumors of wars. Israel and Ukraine begin talks on Iran. $550 billion that relates to investments related to $500 billion investments related to Japan with the U.S. $550 billion investments in tariff cuts. 15. So that's part of the reason why the tariffs got cut for Japan. So they, it relates to that report. What else? I seen a report relating to what was that? 2000 National Guard be help relating to they will help relating to deportation, help with ICE, and 2,000 to 4,000. I seen that earlier report, and that goes to Comitus. That goes to pretty much. Let me look up that word. Yeah, the Posse Comitus Act, which is a federal law that restricts the use of Army and Air Force to enforce domestic laws. So military, acting in for regular civilian authority, man, within the United States, man. Let me read it again. Posse Comitus Act is a U.S. federal law that restricts the use of Army and Air Forces to enforce domestic laws within the United States, unless explicitly authorized by Congress or the Constitution. It essentially prevents the military from being used as the domestic police and except in specific legally defined circumstances. So under extreme, out of ordinary, specific circumstances, then, that could be enacted. That goes into martial law and different things. Let's get into it. Posse Comitus Act, such as when President invokes the Insurrection Act or the Congress specifically authorized military involvement in law enforcement, regular law enforcement, where they intervene. And it has to be through congressional approval, constitutional aspect, and under extreme circumstances. Exceptions are to the Posse Comitus Act, such as when President invokes Insurrection Act, when Congress specifically authorized military involvement in law enforcement. So information here remains relevant today. Ongoing debates and appropriate roles of military and domestic affairs relating to the border situation. Also deportation. The act itself does not prevent a clear mechanism for enforcement or redress for violations, which point a concern for some legal scholars. Domestic Comitus remains relevant. The Posse Comitus Act remains relevant today. Ongoing debates about appropriate role of military and domestic affairs, especially in situations involve national emergencies or counter T-ism efforts. Potential amendments, they have been proposals to strengthen the Posse Comitus Act by expanding its coverage to all branches of armed forces and establishing a clear enforcement mechanism. Now, the Posse Comitus Act is United States federal law signed by June 18, 1878, President Rutherford B. Haynes, that limits the power of the federal government in use of federal military to enforce domestic policies within the United States. So it limits and restricts that unless under extreme circumstances. That goes under Insurrection Act as well, 1807. Jose Comitus Act of 1878. Robert B. Hayes. It was under his, that was Robert B. Hayes. He was the 19th president from 1822 to 1893. He's president from 1877, 1881. So I was under his, who signed that whole history. All right. There was a report talking about a tick increase related to NY scientists were related to ticks, seeing tick increase. Let's talking about here related to a superbug crisis costs global economy $2 trillion a year by 2050. So that's first post. The former president spoke about relating to those allegations. He says bizarre allegations are ridiculous and weak, an attempt as a distraction related to Obama. That's what he's talking about. That regards that probe related to election interference 2016. Okay, so this is some information. Hope it helps relating to information. You have an warning related to this. These teenagers are doing this called the kick door game, the kick the door challenge in various parts of the country. You know what I mean? You know, folly setting great dignity. The rich sit in a low place. They were once kings and princes. Now they made to be servants. So you see in folly also increasing. You know what I mean? The foolishness of folly, at least later to the end times. We know we're in the end times. Scripture talks about iniquity shall bound, the love of many shall wax cold. Now relating to what I was saying about that kick door challenge, they're going to kick the wrong door and pretty much somebody's going to get severely hurt, or even KILED, man, KILED. You know what I mean? Now that challenge happened in different places, Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? These teenagers doing this stuff. So that lets you know the folly and foolishness is increasing because we're in the latter times. 2 Ezra 14 talks about evil shall increase, man. You know what I mean? Even more, man. And you're seeing the evils increase. You're seeing the folly and foolishness increase as well. So this is just different reports relating to that. Hope it helps relating to information specifically. This is Zayal Wolf Shawa.